Good morning and welcome to Board Game Barrister, our local game shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Andy and I'm here with Elizabeth, Anthony, and Theo, and today we're talking Nebula, a cool game where each of us gets to build our own galaxy out of different colored stars that we're claiming out of the center. Let's get into it. Welcome to Nebula from Wonderbow Games, where each player at the table is going to be claiming stars from our star cluster board in the center of the table to place into their own personal galaxies. Each player is going to get a galaxy board in the color of their choice, and those boards are all the same. Within that galaxy, you're going to see a central place, which is where you have to place the first star you play during the game. After that first star, every star we play has to be linked to a star that's already somewhere on our board. Each of the star spaces on your board is also part of a constellation. There are 4 different constellations, each is represented by a different shape that's printed on the star spaces. And last, you have a black hole row along the top of your board that can score you points for playing black hole stars into this area. At the start of the game, we'll have drawn 4 shared objectives at random that we're all going to be working out throughout the game. So for example, one of our shared objectives this time is to have at least 2 orange stars in each of 3 different constellations. So that's a total of 6 stars spread 2 each into 3 constellations. Each of us also gets a personal objective, which is private from the rest of the players. Ours this time happens to be to try to get at least 6 yellow stars onto our galaxy. Each player's turn has 2 main parts. The first is to collect stars. Now there's 2 ways you can collect stars, and the main way you'll be doing it for most of the game, at least in our experience, is to be manipulating time out here on the star cluster board. If you choose to manipulate time, you're going to use these little hourglass tokens and move them a total of 5 spaces between all 3 of them around these star clusters, and then claim the stars that they end up at. We've also drawn a random colored guiding star into the center of the star cluster board. The guiding star matters once you're playing stars onto your board, but you may want to collect the guiding star whenever you have the opportunity to. So as an example of manipulating time, I could move this token 1 spot counterclockwise. So that's one of my 5 moves, and I have to make all 5. So the next thing I want to do is to move this token 1, 2, 3, 4 spots clockwise. That's all 5 of my moves. And now I'm going to look at where those tokens are sitting on their star clusters and collect the star from each of those 3 that they are in front of. After you've taken those tokens, we're going to move these crescent moons to follow to the spaces you took tokens off of this turn, so that the next player will be able to easily track those hourglass tokens' starting positions on their turn. You can collect stars in one different way, and that is by resorting to chaos. When you resort to chaos, you're going to choose one of the stars that's already in your supply and discard it from the game entirely. This gives you an opportunity to draw 5 stars out of the bag, and you're going to choose 2 of those stars that you're going to keep, and the rest of those also get discarded from the game entirely. Alright, we grabbed an orange, yellow, and black. This is going to be great for us, because the second main part of your turn is to play star tokens out onto your galaxy. You can play up to 2 stars on your turn. You may not play 2 matching stars on the same turn, so I couldn't play 2 yellows if I had them. And if one of the stars you play matches the color of the guiding star, which ours does, that guiding star is orange, then you can play a 3rd. And that leaves us with a black star token, which is a special token called a black hole. Black holes never go out onto your galaxy. Instead, when you play a black hole, you will play it into your black hole row at the top of your board. Now at the end of the game, you'll score points for the leftmost number showing on this row, so the more that we can cover up, the more points we're going to score. But also, every time you play a black star, we're going to move the black star token 1 to the right. Each time this token reaches one of these highlighted spaces, that means we get a new guiding star. We're going to discard the current one and draw a new guiding star color from the bag. And if that token makes it to the very end of that track, that is one of the triggers to end the game. Now we also played with the advanced rules today, which are going to add another big element to this game in the form of this extended universe board. This board comes with its own objectives along the bottom here, and 3 different tracks for star colors, constellations completed, and completions of these new objectives. Every time a player at the table plays a black hole, in addition to moving this token on the star cluster board, they get to pick 1 token somewhere on the extended board and advance it 1 spot along its track. That could be something like advancing yellow, advancing one of the constellations, or advancing one of these new objectives as identified by those Roman numerals above them, like number 3 here. And at the end of the game, these tracks will have a big effect on our score. The end of the game can be triggered in 4 different ways. The first, which we already mentioned, is if the black hole token makes it all the way to this final node on this track. Next is if any player at the table completes 3 constellations. We'll also wrap it up if we have 8 different scoring tokens out here on the shared objectives between all players. And last is if our star bag just runs out of stars.
I feel like this game has lots and lots and lots of like facets and options and possibilities. So there's like 11 billion different ways to approach both your taking and your placing, because there's so many different goals in your placement and so many different ways that you can interpret a good way to take your resource. So that means that there's a lot of decision points and a lot of replayability. Of course, this also means the first game is just not going to count. You're not going to really understand the full impact of all the scoring until you've played your first game, as we well learned.
9 objectives can lead to a lot of... Oh, I'm blanking on it. What is that thing when...
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah,
analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
There's a lot of analysis paralysis to run into here, yes.
And then on top of that, controlling the black star and being able to manipulate how the end score points adds another layer to the analysis paralysis.
I feel like you could get into analysis paralysis if you want to, or you can just look at it as an opportunity to button mash. And it's fine. That looks good. I'll take that. You can be opportunistic. It's okay. I wasn't last.
Well, it was nice to know that, like, you get partway through the game and we were like, oh, there's no way you're completing everything. You're not supposed to.
And you can just choose throughout the game 1 or 2 of them that you're like, I will focus on these, and hopefully I'll finish these 2 objectives alone. So I was trying to do all of the things. That was a mistake. Don't try to do all of the things. Choose a few that you actually want to try to aim for, and then just go into those as quickly and deeply as you can. If I had been doing that, I might have ended up with a better score, because I would have finished 1 or 2 more of the objectives instead of spreading myself so thin trying to get, oh, I need this for this one and that for this and those for these, and how do I get all this stuff together to do everything?
So we started to do rolling turns where the next player could start their turn after I had made my claims on the stars. So I already know what I'm going to be putting into my galaxy or what my options are, and I'm not going to be affecting the next player's turn in any way, which means that they can start making their selections immediately. And that kept 2 people going just about at all times and made the game way faster than all of us sitting here twiddling our thumbs waiting for somebody to make a decision about exactly where their stars were going to go. That doesn't affect you, so you can just move on from there. The one caveat to that is that sometimes somebody playing a black star or making very specific moves will change the guiding star in the center or will affect the scoring tracks down here in the expanded universe. So you're going to want to keep an eye on just asking them, hey, are you going to do anything that affects me? No? Cool. I'm going to take my turn then.
We played with the advanced rules today, which gives us an additional tracker board down at the bottom where you are able to manipulate what some of the resulting values of various colors of star constellation and an additional row of advanced objective cards will end up being worth at the end of the game. If you do not play with that, however, the game really focuses on the building aspect and how you're controlling the shape and design of your build.
Yeah, the game box says it's for ages 8 and up, and this would be probably a fantastic game for 8-year-olds and families if you take out the advanced rules, because then there's just this really elegant time-spending mechanic in the center where you're using the hourglasses to claim stars and complete some pretty straightforward objectives.
I will also say that we saw, what do we have out here? The 8 objectives, which we're all working towards, and then our 1 personal objective. But there's an entire stack of objective cards that we didn't even really look at. There's a ton of these. Did you enjoy watching this video? Hopefully the answer is yes, for we have just finished playing Nebula. Yes, excellent. So if you too wish to make your own galaxy inside of a much wider universe, feel free to pick a copy up. We have been the Board Game Barrister. I'm Anthony. I have Theo, Andy, and Elizabeth here with us. Hit the like button, comment if you wish, subscribe if you want to keep on seeing these videos. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a wonderful day.